That was Tupac, Dear Mama. So what I have found, it is harder and harder for people on the right to present people that are just human. Human. I ain't talking about whether I agree with you ideologically. I'm not talking about whether I agree with you politically or even religiously. Just be a human being. Katie Britt, an example, when she was her State of the Union response, of course, she was over melodramatic. It looked like every breath of porno I've ever heard. Well, I don't use the sound anymore. But when I used to hear the sound on porno, she used to sound like that. And the example she pointed out that didn't happen within the last 20 years and didn't happen in this administration and wasn't an example that typifies what's going on in the border right now. You have to be salacious. And what you have to do is conjure up this fear of immigrants. It's the Southern strategy, this fear of immigrants. Like Laken Riley, a young woman who was killed by an immigrant, right? Which is a tragedy and no one can deny it. But you cannot tell me that you care about the safety of women when you pass laws that make it easier for domestic abusers to have guns. How many laws? In South Carolina and Louisiana, they passed a law where 18-year-old people, 18-year-old adults, can have guns. They can walk in and get them and carry them around. A woman in America is more likely to be killed by somebody she has been intimate with than an immigrant. But you want us to demonize the immigrants. You want us to worry about them. You're telling us you're concerned about the safety of women, yet you make it easier to have for the people who are the true danger to them to be armed and ready to do harm to them. You don't want red flag laws. You don't want background checks. You don't want to be able to take the guns out of the homes of domestic abusers. But you want to keep us focusing on things that that are not as much a danger to us as the law you pass every single day. You have made it easy for men who have proven to be abusive to walk in, get guns, carry them, and do whatever they want with them. There are more women who will be killed by an intimate partner or somebody they were intimately involved with than ever will be killed by an illegal immigrant. But you demonize them. All the while propping up women and saying we're worried about your safety. If you were worried about our safety, their safety, why do you make it so hard for someone who has a domestic abuse charge to have a gun? Why do you make it so hard for 18-year-old people who can't even rent a car? They can't rent a car, but they can have an instrument that is there to met out death. But you're worried about people. It is the truth in America. Violence against women has gone up. And what have they done in response to that? They have decided to make them a caricature and to also make it easy for them to be brutalized. More women in America will be killed or hurt or violently attacked by someone who they were intimate with, someone they were closely associated with. But you want us to worry about this amorphous, this mysterious, illegal immigrant. You got one example, and that's the one that everybody's supposed to hang their head on. When every single day on our streets, women are being brutalized, murdered, hurt, and killed by somebody that said they love them, facilitated by state legislatures that say you can have a gun and do whatever you want with it. A legal immigrant, a woman is more likely to be killed by somebody who laid in the bed than who makes it up. That's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.